As part of the Frontier Development's Elite Dangerous Content Creators Partner Program, we've been granted an early access look at the 4th new ship to enter the game this year, and it still feels weird saying that, the Cobra Mk5. As a result, we can show you exactly what the ship looks and sounds like and talk a little about its handling and where it might sit in the game before you decide whether you're going to drop some arcs on the thing when it arrives in 6 days time with the Cobra Mk5 update on the 10th of December. The Cobra Mk5 is very much being deployed by FDev at this point in the year and at this point in the life of the game as part of the anniversary celebrations commemorating the launch of Elite Dangerous, which is now a decade ago. This comes, let us not forget, in the same year that the franchise as a whole reaches its 4th decade as part of the space gaming enthusiasts' consciousness. The venerable Cobra line of ships have always been one of the game's go-to more generalistic do anything ships, and that philosophy holds for the Mark V version of this now classic chassis as well. So much so in fact that Frontier themselves have told us that the ship has been designed to be the quote all-round best small multi-purpose ship available. However, this comes with some limitations on its ability to perform specific roles at the upper end of play, end quote, further adding that quote it is not intended to be used for dedicated roles when compared to other new wave ships, but you may find it rivals some older ships for their dedicated roles, end quote. As with all of FDev's new generation ships now entering the game, the Cobra Mk5 natively supports the game changing Supercruise overcharge technology. You'll remember that we nicked that from the Thargoid Titans after spilling their half cooked internals all over numerous star systems. Yay science. The new Cobra is the first small class vessel to natively support SEO, and I can confirm that it supports the back engineered alien tech with aplomb. I'm guessing its reduced mass is giving it a significant advantage as it quite happily pulls an eye blistering 7,000 times the speed of light with the throttle jammed forward without breaking a sweat, literally or figuratively. It'll do that speed at around 52% heat, chewing through its fuel at a rate of 352.89 per hour. More than enough speed and efficiency to cover some hilarious distances and still survive the journey. While we're talking firsts, as well as being the first small vessel to support SEO, the Cobra is also the first small vessel to sport 3 seats. There's a somewhat unusual detail to the ship's considerable heat management system, and it's something that most players likely won't see during normal play, but it's a great detail nonetheless. The heat expulsion system for each ship is unique in Elite Dangerous, and in the case of the Cobra Mk5 the ship expels excess heat by raising the 2 large engine cowlings at the rear of the upper surface of the ship and exposing their red hot core to the cold vacuum of space. The ship sports 4 utility mounts compared to the Cobra Mk3's 2 utility mounts, and in addition to the hardpoint configuration carried over from the Mark III version of de Lacy's venerable workhorse, an additional extra 2 hardpoints, giving it the total of 3 Class 2s and 2 Class 1s. On the upper surface of the ship, the twin Class 1 hardpoints are either side of the cockpit, and the extra Class 2 hardpoint sits between the engines to the rear of the ship. The final twin Class 2 hardpoints are on the underside, underslung on either side of the cockpit. And while we're mentioning the cockpit, the Cobra Mk5 is the only one of the new ships this year that features an entirely new remodelled cockpit interior space, meaning the 3 seats inside are able to take full advantage of the ceiling to floor wall of glass observable space that the ship features. The core internals you can see listed on screen now are all exactly the same as the Cobra Mk3 except when it comes to the power distributor. The Mk5 featuring a Class 4 instead of the Cobra Mk3's Class 3. Being a very dedicated multi-role ship, however, it's the optional internals that will define what jobs a given Mark V will take on, and it's here that the ship shows its flexibility, sporting 1 Class 5, 3 Class 4s, 3 Class 3s, 1 Class 2 and 2 Class 1s. Just like the previous generation Cobras, the Mark V is fast and nimble in normal space. With minimal engineering or indeed any specific thought given to it, we were getting 631 meters a second out of the ship's continuous boost. We've heard tell of others reaching speeds approaching 700 meters a second. Coupled with its manoeuvrability, it's more than enough to get the extremely nimble ship out of just about any sticky situation, or indeed, in the right hands, run rings around most opponents. A-rated, and again with light engineering and minimal thought given, you can easily get 35 light years out of the frameshift drive. With a Class 5 Guardian frameshift booster, you can expect to put another 10 light years on top of that. Boost audio is always a huge part of any new ship in the game, but with the Cobra Mk5 here at the pit, we couldn't personally determine any particular huge difference between it and the Cobra Mk3, but we're thinking perhaps that's to be expected, as it is, after all, a true variant rather than something like the Mandalay. In regards to any future ship interior speculation, or at the very least changes in how we might enter ships in the future, perhaps bypassing the blue holographic tunnel of despair, we can confirm that whilst you can indeed walk most of the way up the front steps to the door itself is noticeably physically too low to let a commander avatar through it without stooping. It's obviously not a deal breaker and doesn't actually affect the operation of the vessel however, but we've checked the feature on previous new ships, which is why we ended up looking at it so closely here. The ship kit that you can see in various configurations throughout this video is called the Vector Kit, and the folding wingtips that you can see when the ship deploys its landing gear are a part of that ship kit and an extension to the vanilla version of the ship. As I mentioned on our previous video about the ship, I'll personally absolutely be replacing my existing Cobra Mk3 that I use largely for settlement work. The small footprint coupled with the hilarious speed and Supercruise overcharge efficiency make it, for me, absolutely ideal in that role. Practicalities aside, I have to say the Cobra Mk5 is huge fun to fly, and I personally really enjoy the aesthetics of it. It's an ideal signature to end this landmark year with Elite Dangerous, and a beautiful celebration piece for the game's 10th anniversary. As a reimagining of the now iconic Cobras, the Mk5's features, handling, agility, speed and appearance beautifully exemplifies the bold directions the game is now taking itself in as we begin to move into the post-Thargoid war era. Now that you've had a closer look at the ship, do you think you'll pick one up in early access? Did you pick up any of the other new ships this year in early access? And now we've had a whole year of 4 new ships to the game, what do you feel about the direction the game is heading in? Let us know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe so YouTube shows you all our content, and if you'd like to support our work here at the Buur Pit, you can also join our Patreon. Links to that and everything we've talked about in this video you'll find linked below. That's it for now. Thanks very much for watching. We very much look forward to seeing you next time.